Pause right here. Chosen one, let the noise of the day fall away for a moment. Before the weight of unfinished tasks, unanswered questions, and quiet ache settles back onto your shoulders, stay with me. Something is being released over your life in this exact hour. Words that were never meant for the crowd. They were prepared for you, personally, specifically, on this day when the shift you have felt but barely dared to name is ready to be confirmed. You have sensed it already. That subtle loosening inside, even while the outer landscape still looks familiar. A morning when the heaviness lifted just enough for you to breathe differently. A glance in the mirror where something in your eyes no longer matched the exhaustion you expected to see. That was not random. That was the first evidence that the old season has lost its authority. You are not declining the way the world predicted. You are being renewed from the deepest places. The transformation already underway within you is preparing to surface in ways that will make those around you pause and wonder what changed. Not merely surface appearance, but the quiet authority of your presence, the settled light in your eyes, the way a space softens when you enter it. This is not a future hope. This is a present declaration. Stay until the final word. Every line that follows was placed here for the one who needed it most today. Before we go further, consider this. Somewhere right now, another soul sits where you once sat, late at night, after a hard stretch of days, searching for proof that the heaviness does not have the final say. If these words are landing in a real place inside you, you can help carry them further without cost. Leave a simple word in the comments so the next person who finds this space knows they are not alone. And if this message has been light for you, there is a way in the description and comments to offer the price of a cup of coffee to keep these words reaching those who need them. You will never see their face, but a stranger will hear something that turns their direction. And a quiet part of that will have come through you that matters more than you know. You do not have to do it to receive what is being spoken over you, but if it moves you, it is already working. Now we continue, because what comes next belongs to you. I have not looked away from any of it. I have watched the years you spent pouring yourself out for others while running on empty. I have seen the mornings you rose not from rest but from necessity. I have seen the invisible moments when you sat alone and wondered if the lighter, more alive version of yourself had disappeared for good. It showed in the mirror a tiredness behind the eyes that sleep could not touch, a tension that remained even when you smiled, a sense that time had pressed deeper than skin. You carried it without complaint. You kept showing up when it cost more than anyone around you realized. Hear this clearly, that exhaustion was never the truth of who you are. It was the evidence of how much you endured. It was the mark of a season, not a permanent identity. And that season has ended. What tried to age you from the inside has run out of permission to remain. What replaces it is not mere rest. It is restoration, complete, unhurried, reaching every layer of you. Comment, Amen, if this is speaking to something real inside you right now. I am releasing something over you today that cannot be reversed. You will begin to look younger, not because of anything applied to the surface, but because the weight is being lifted from your spirit. When fear dissolves beneath the expression, when grief that sat behind the eyes begins to lift, the face cannot help but follow. This is not cosmetic. This is not temporary. This is cellular and spiritual at once. The kind of renewal that does not fade with changing circumstances, because it does not originate from them. It rises from a place so deep that nothing outside can touch it once it is established. Your eyes will carry light again, not the forced brightness of someone pretending to be fine, but the settled, unhurried light of someone who knows they are held. People will notice without being able to name it. They will say, "You seem rested." They will say, "You seem lighter." They will sense something present that was not there before, and you will know it had nothing to do with luck. It had everything to do with a grace that was already working, even in the seasons when you felt furthest from it. The weariness is leaving, layer by layer, the way something covering a beautiful surface is carefully peeled back. Beneath it all, you are still intact, still luminous, still exactly who you were made to be. There is a version of yourself you remember in flashes, a lightness in your step, freedom in your laughter, eyes that held brightness without effort. You may have quietly grieved that version without telling anyone. You may have looked at old photographs and felt an ache, wondering if the years had taken something that could not be returned. Nothing was taken. It was stored. It was protected. It was waiting for this precise moment. That lightness is not a memory of who you used to be. It is a preview of who you are still becoming. The brightness was never a product of youth alone. It was a product of freedom, and freedom is what is being restored to you now. You are not returning to who you were before the hard things. You are moving forward into someone stronger, deeper, and more at peace than that earlier version ever was. Someone who carries both the wisdom of what was endured and the ease of what has been released. Someone refined, not burned. That combination of depth and lightness is what will make people look twice. It cannot be purchased or borrowed. It is earned through the exact journey you have walked, and you have arrived. You may have noticed small things lately that you dismissed as coincidence. A morning where, for a few seconds before the thoughts began, everything felt still and okay. A conversation where you realized you were no longer reacting the old way. An evening where restlessness gave way to something that felt almost like peace. Those are not accidents. Those are evidence. The work began before you pressed play. It began in one of those quiet moments you almost overlooked. A release happened without ceremony. Your body has been responding, breath coming a little easier, the braced feeling in the shoulders less constant, unexpected calm appearing without explanation. It is already moving. You do not have to chase it, force it, or wait for permission. It is already inside you, already unfolding in a direction that only moves forward. Comment 1111 if you have felt even the smallest quiet shift. I want to speak to the part of you that almost stopped believing, the part that sat in the silence at the end of a long day and whispered that maybe this was simply how life would feel from now on. Maybe the vibrant, hopeful version of you was not compatible with the adult world. Maybe resilience only meant learning to carry the weight instead of ever setting it down. That voice lied. I heard it, and I stepped in. There were seasons when the work inside you was so quiet, you could not feel it. Nothing looked different on the outside, yet foundations were shifting in places you could not see. Roots were going deeper. The ground beneath you was being prepared for something far more stable. The delays were not abandonment. The silence was not absence. Every day you felt stuck was a day something in you was being protected until it was ready to be exposed. You were not forgotten. You were being prepared, and now you stand on the other side, still breathing, still open. That tells me you are ready. The strength it took to stay when everything in you wanted to leave is still inside you. Now, instead of using it only to survive, you will use it to live. Comment, I trust God, if you held on even when it was hard. You are about halfway through this message. If what you are hearing is reaching the place I hope it is, know this: there are people in every corner of the world sitting where you once sat, weary, carrying things alone, faces marked by the same tiredness you once recognized in the mirror. They are looking for something they cannot always name. It is these words, this space. If you have found something here that genuinely touched a place that needed touching, you have the chance to help pass it on. There is a link in the description and comments where you can contribute the cost of a simple cup of coffee. That small act makes it possible to reach more people. Someone who has never heard words spoken over their life with this kind of care. Someone who needs to know they are not forgotten. You will never know their name, but they will feel the difference. There is quiet power in being part of something you will not fully see yet know was real. Thank you for being here. The best is still ahead. Something about you is beginning to change the way you enter a room. You are not doing it deliberately. You are not standing or speaking differently on purpose. Yet people are noticing a quiet steadiness, an ease that was not present before, something behind the eyes that has found its footing. That is your presence being restored. True presence is not performance. It is not the loud, armored confidence the world often praises. It is the quality that rises from a settled spirit, the radiance of a person who no longer needs external validation to feel whole. It shows in the face, the posture, the way you listen and speak. Your face is softer now, even if you have not fully noticed. The tension that lived around the eyes and jaw is releasing because the vigilance that created it is no longer required. You are not bracing for impact the way you once did. You are beginning, slowly and gently, to trust that you are safe enough to unfold. And when a person unfolds from the inside, the outside cannot remain unchanged. Skin responds to a body no longer flooded with sustained fear. Eyes respond to a nervous system finally beginning to rest. The whole face responds to a heart that is no longer holding its breath. This is why you will look younger, not because youth is measured by years, but because youth in its truest form is freedom, and you are becoming free. I want to honor something before we continue. The fact that you are here, that you pressed play and stayed, tells me something rare about you. You never fully stopped hoping, even in the seasons when you told yourself you had given up, even in the stretches when you stopped asking, because the silence felt too costly. Some small part of you kept a door open. Some quiet, stubborn, beautiful part stayed willing. That is not small. Most people, after enough hard seasons, close themselves on purpose to protect what remains. There is grace for that. Survival deserves grace. But you did not fully close. You stayed available, and that availability is what made this moment possible. The door your willingness kept open is the door I walked through. What I am bringing is not partial restoration or temporary relief. It is a complete return to life, not the life you had before the hard things, but a truer, deeper one. You endured for a reason, and the reason is standing in front of you now. In the days and weeks ahead, you will notice more specific changes. Watch for them so you recognize them when they arrive. Mornings will begin to feel different, not dramatically at first, but there will come a morning when you open your eyes, and the first feeling is not dread or exhaustion. It will be something quieter, almost like spaciousness. A few seconds of calm before the day asks anything of you. That calm will grow. You will catch yourself in the mirror and pause, not out of criticism, cataloging what needs to change, but out of recognition. Your eyes will hold something you have not seen in a while. Your expression will carry rest. Your face will begin to reflect the truth of what is happening inside, rather than the weight of everything you have been carrying. People who have not seen you in some time will say something. They may not know the exact words. They may land on rested, or refreshed, or light. They may simply say you seem good, really good, with an emphasis that means more than politeness. Let those moments land. Let them be evidence. Let yourself believe them. Your energy will return in layers. First, in small windows of vitality, moments when you feel genuinely alive and present in your own body. Then those windows will widen until they become the default rather than the exception. You will move through your days with a naturalness you forgot was available. All of this is already in motion. Do not measure it by yesterday. Measure it against 6 months ago. Then watch what has changed. If a voice inside you is saying this sounds beautiful, but you have heard beautiful things before, and nothing shifted, I speak directly to that voice. The skepticism makes sense. You did not arrive at it randomly. You arrived through experience, through times you reached for hope and found it did not hold, through promises that felt real in the moment but dissolved in daylight, through the particular disappointment of believing fully and then watching it not happen. I am not asking you to override that. I am not asking you to perform a faith you do not yet feel. I am only asking you to stay present with what is actually happening right now in this moment, in your body. Not what has happened before, not what might or might not happen later, just what is here, just what you are feeling as these words reach you. If something in you recognized itself in the description of carrying too much for too long, if something knows what it is to endure a season that stretched further than you thought possible, if something quietly leans toward the possibility that this time something could genuinely shift, then that recognition is not wishful thinking, it is a signal. Your spirit responding to something already prepared for it. Signals like that do not come from nowhere. You are not too late. You have never been too late. And the version of you that believed you were is the version being gently, permanently set aside right now. What I leave with you is the simplest and most important truth of all. You are being made new, not fixed, not patched, not made to resemble a better version of someone you are not. Made new from the inside in a way that is completely native to who you are and who you were always created to be. The version emerging is not a stranger. It is the most familiar thing you have ever known. It is the you that existed before the world began adding weight, before the loss, before the disappointment, before the exhaustion, before the years of pouring out more than you could take in. That version was never erased. It was never destroyed. It was waiting with extraordinary patience for exactly this season. And this is that season. Your face is going to tell a story your words have not yet caught up to. People will look at you and see something they want without fully understanding why. They will be drawn to the rare combination of rest and aliveness. You now carry a combination the world runs short of. You carry both, and it will show, not because you earned it by suffering enough, not because you finally got something right, because grace does not operate on a merit system. It moves where it chooses, and it has moved here. It has moved toward you. It is moving through you right now. Let it receive it fully. Open your hands, your heart, and the deepest guarded places, and let this in. You deserve to be restored, not through the lens of what you have been through, but through the lens of who you truly are. That day is not coming. It is here. It arrived with you, and it is not leaving. Comment, amend one final time if you receive everything declared over your life in this message. If something in these words landed in a place that needed to hear it, do one simple thing. Press the like button right now, not as a favor to an algorithm, but as a quiet act of agreement that says, yes, this is real, and I receive it. Leave something in the comments. A word, a number, a sentence about what you are stepping into or out of. Every comment becomes the sign for someone else who finds this space in the middle of the night, looking for proof they are not alone. Your word will reach a life you will never see. If you have not yet subscribed, this is your gentle invitation. More messages are coming. More declarations set apart for seasons you have not yet reached. Hit subscribe and turn on the notification so that when something is spoken for exactly where you are, it finds you. Finally, if you carry a generous spirit that looks for ways to multiply what is good, there is a link in the description and pinned comment that allows you to share the price of a cup of coffee to keep this mission alive. Not to fund a brand, but to be the reason one more person on the other side of the world finds this space on a night when they needed it more than they could say. You do not have to know who they are. You only have to know they exist, and that what you give quietly will be part of what reaches them when they need it most. That is not small. That is the kind of thing that remains long after we are gone. Thank you for staying until the end. This message was made for you, and you were made for it. Go gently. You are being renewed.